Yo guys, welcome back to another video on the channel, and today I'm going to show you guys the best controller settings in Battlefield 6. A lot of you guys seem to enjoy my last video that I put out on how to change some of the buttons on your controller, and a couple of you guys asked me for all of my settings, so I'm just going to show you the best controller settings in my opinion right now. Quickly before we get into it, if you guys are new around it, be sure to subscribe to the channel, notifications, turn up any more videos on the content. If you're enjoying the Battlefield 6 content as opposed to Call of Duty, let me know in the comments and leave a like because it does really help me out, and it also helps me understand what you guys are enjoying. But let's jump straight into it right now. Okay guys, so we're obviously going to come over to our settings. That is the first thing we are going to come down to. All of the accessibility and stuff is all sort of down to personal preference, where you want subtitles, the volume, world brightness. I put my world brightness up to 60. I think it just looks a little bit better than 50. Color profiles you can change, hold and toggle, all of this sort of stuff. It's entirely up to you. Controller vibration is one that I would have turned off. I don't think there's any need for controller vibration. Obviously it feels a little bit more immersive if you want that. But the one thing I will say of controller vibration, when you're trying to do the smallest little movements in your aim, if your controller's vibrating and shaking around in your hand, that is going to slightly adjust where you're aiming depending on how good your dead zones are. So I would recommend just having controller vibration turned off. It's going to give you the best aim possible. And again, everything else is entirely down to whatever you guys do want. Gameplay, again, there's not really too much we're going to change in this. Invert all is going to be normal. We're not going to change any of that. Vertical look settings, hold and toggle. All of this is completely the same. Infantry aim sensitivity, I do drop down to 50, guys. I do drop that down to 50, and then everything else, as you can see, I'm pretty sure it's just standard as it comes, and if it's not, it'll be something that we change in our settings anyway. So we're going to come down to controller, and then once we're on controller, if you're on PlayStation, you're going to press triangle. If you're on Xbox, you're going to press Y, and you're going to come into these settings right here. So we've got infantry, ground vehicles, transport vehicles, etc, etc. We've got all of this stuff that we're going to go through. So starting at the top, we'll go into deeper information on the infantry one in just a moment, but let's get everything set up to start with. So buttons, I changed this to alternate, and what this is going to do, it means I can crouch with my right stick, and then I can melee with B or circle. And the reason for this is I have paddles on my controller, and even if you don't, if you change your crouch / slide to your right stick, it means you've never got to take your hand off that right stick when you're trying to crouch and move around the map. You can easily just push it into slide, and then when you're going to melee, you can press B or circle. I've not really had many opportunities to even melee an opponent in this game, so I don't really think that it's necessary. So alternate is what I'm going to play. However, if you do want it on standard, where your melee button is going to be to push your right stick and your slide and crouch is on B or circle, just leave that on default. On our controls, we are going to change these to custom, and you'll see why in just a moment. And then we'll just quickly go through all of this stuff. Ground vehicles, we leave on everything the same. Transport vehicle, again, everything's going to be left the same. Aircraft, the same. Helicopter is the same. And then gunner is also the same as well. So in terms of all of those guys, you're going to leave them exactly as they come, just purely default settings. No need to change any of those. If you guys do want to, you can jump in and change some of this, change some of your controls, depending on what you want to do. But it's entirely up to you if you want to go ahead and do that or not. Obviously, you can just come here. You could change your LT and your RT to like LB and RB if you wanted to do that, but again, not something that I personally am doing. Now let's jump into the controller settings themselves, guys. Infantry aim sensitivity, I have this down at about 50. I think it starts on 60, I think, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong, but I have that at about 50. That feels really nice in game. It feels like a good speed to be able to turn around and move around the map without being too fast or too slow, so that's really, really nice. Vertical look, I have turned off. I don't want to invert my look. There's no point in doing that, but if you want to do it, if that's how you like to play, then go ahead and do that. Field of view, I'm playing 120. Probably the best thing to play is probably around about 105. I would imagine that's a very, very sweet spot for this game. From what I've been hearing about a lot of other controller players as well, they're enjoying 105. So if you want the best, stick it at 105. I'm playing 120 just purely to be able to see the entire map. There's no benefit in playing it, especially on a game like Battlefield 6, where you're shooting at much longer distance than you are on something like Call of Duty, which is obviously what I used to play before. Vertical aim ratio, we are going to have that at around about 50 as well. And then our uniform infantry aiming is going to be turned on. Now, guys, we have got our aim assist settings. If you're on controller, you want your aim assist as strong as you can possibly have it. So infantry aim assist zoom snap, slow down, and infantry aim assist are all going to be at 100. And then you have got this zoom sensitivity coefficient, and I believe that comes standard at 178. I've knocked this down to around about 150. I found that it was just a little bit too slow, so I just slowly bumped it up, and then I landed on 155, and that just feels like a really, really nice area to have that in. Personally, just felt like the aim assist was really good. The sensitivity on my zooms was really good. Overall, just a really, really nice way to play. So what I would say to you guys is drop that to about 155. See how your aim feels. If it's too fast, drop it a little bit. If it's too slow, speed it up a little bit. It's entirely up to you what you want to do there. Infantry aim input curve, guys. This is a bit of a topic that people seem to be talking about right now. Some people are saying standard is better for your infantry aim input. Some people are saying standard's better. Some people are saying linear is better. And most people are saying this BFBC2 is better. I personally have preferred this as well. Personally, what I've been using is the BFBC2. I've tried out the other ones. I found that my aim assist was a little bit stronger using this. It's nothing crazy. There's not, you know, tons and tons of difference between the pair of them, but this one does feel very good. So I'm personally going to recommend you guys to play that. But if you don't like it, have a mess about with standard and linear as well. Stick input is going to be on default. Aiming left right acceleration is going to be down to 50, guys. We're going to put that there. That's going to be the best way of doing that. Then for movement, our infantry sprint is going to be on toggle. Double tap forward to sprint, guys. You can have this on if you want. It just means you've got to double tap your left stick forward to get into a tactical sprint. You can do that if you want. I personally just have this off and I have my sprint on L, just pushing my left stick in. Some people have been changing this out. Some people have been making it so you turn this on, right? So people will turn that on and then it allows them to use their left stick pushing in as another command in game. There's nothing really that I need to do that for. If you guys want an extra button, which is very easy to access, then you could do that. You can turn your double sprint forward on, onto auto sprint, and then change this left stick into a different button. Personally, though, I've just been running that on off and having the sprint on, push your left stick in. Don't see there's really much need to change it. Crouch toggle sprint is going to be stand. Vault over sprint is going to be on. Slide, we don't need to change because, like I said beforehand, we changed our controllers to alternate, I believe it was. So, which is going to swap our B and our right stick over. That means we can just press that and slide. I can slide in game. As long as I'm sprinting and I press my slide button or my crouch button, I'm going to slide in game. You don't need to change that. If you want to change it and actually map it to a certain button, you can do so. That is entirely up to you. Again, personally, just something I don't need to do with the controller settings that I've got set up. So if you guys are following along just to run exactly what I've got, no need to put anything here, but if you want to assign a button to it, you can do that. Crouch slide, we are just going to leave that on all. That's the best setting. It means we're going to be able to crouch and we're going to be able to slide and lay down and everything in game at the right times. Double tap crouch for sprint slide is going to be on. Weapon infantry zoom is going to be on. Zoom is going to be LT. I like to aim with my triggers. On my controller, I've got short triggers as well, so I don't have to push it very far. But if you wanted to change that to LB, you can go ahead and do so because, again, it's a shorter movement for the button. If you want to do that, you can. Steady scope, we are going to have on hold. That's the best way of doing that. Steady scope, set input for binding, as you guys can do. You can just push your left stick in, and it is going to do it like that if you want to. But this should already be mapped out anyway for your controllers. Then for our infantry zoom aim assist sensitivity, guys, I am going to have that on 100. And now in terms of all of this stuff here as well, guys, what you're going to have your aim sensitivity, this is pure preference, right? This is entirely down to what you like to run. As you can see, any of my scopes under the 3 times, like 3 times and under, are all down at 80. That's just a lot easier for me to control at that range. And then once the scopes get further away and they're bigger scopes, I leave it at 100. And the reason for this is I'm making much smaller movements with those bigger scopes because I'm zooming in further, I'm looking at a long distance, whereas on these smaller scopes I'm probably in closer range gunfights. There's probably a lot more going on, so it just means my sensitivity is going to be a lot easier to track those opponents at close range. That's personally how I like to play. This is all going to come down to you. Just mess about with your sensitivity in game using different scopes. If it's too fast, bring it down depending on what scope you're using. If it's too slow, bring it up. Do you know what I mean? Just mess about with your sensitivity yourself. That is pure down to personal preference. And then when it comes to others, guys, parachute auto deploy is going to be skydive / insurgents. Interact and reload, I actually have this on prioritize reload, and the reason for this is you don't want to get caught in a situation where you're trying to reload your weapon, but it's prioritizing the interact. If there's a weapon to pick up, or there's something to pick up, or a door to open, instead of it prioritizing that, it's going to prioritize your reload first, and then it's going to prioritize the interaction. So personally, just have that. It's something I always run on majority of the games, but if you want to just leave it, I believe on standard it's prioritize interact. But yeah, you can sort of just make it whatever one you want to prioritize. Interacts we're going to have on toggle. Skip revive we have on hold. Request revive is toggle. Invert demolition charge is off. Mount breakout instant. Mount type is going to be side and up. Mount presets is going to be combo. Peak type is going to be side and up. Infantry flick look mode is always. The threshold is 90 and then the speed is 100. And I don't think we've missed anything else on here that we have changed in terms of this list. If we do go back and we go to infantry mapping here, again, if there's any buttons you want to change, you can do so by doing these, guys. You can just jump into certain different things. As you can see, you've got your flick, look, forward, all this different stuff. And as you can see, like buttons like this, where it says jump, press, or quick upgrade, hold, it just means whatever you're doing in game. Like, for example, if I come back down to the reload one as well, for example, which I know is about here. So if I want to reload, that is toggle, and if I want to interact, it's hold. So when I'm reloading, I just press X once, it's going to reload, and if I hold it, it's going to interact with what's in front of me. So a lot of these buttons are mapped out perfectly for controller players. Like, they are just the best setup. just bear in mind if there's anything you do want to change, guys, you can. But also, like I said, bear in mind that some of these are you're gonna think you want to change this setting, but you don't need to. Like, you might think steady scope, right? If I want steady scope, I want to push my left stick in whilst I'm ADSing. It's gonna help me breathe down, like, do you know what I mean? Control that scope. If you look down here, toggle scope / steady scope is on hold. It's already set up for you. So just because it's not mapped in them two, it's mapped somewhere else. So majority of the time, guys, they are going to be mapped somewhere else. Just bear that in mind. You know, have a look. If there's anything you want to change, go ahead and change it. It's entirely up to you guys. If there's certain controllers you guys like, go and do that. Like I said, our ground vehicles and all our vehicle stuff is just on standard. It's what it comes as. Controller tuning. Controller vibration I have off. Vibration mix doesn't mean anything because we've got that off. Dead zones is something you can mess about with because, of course, everyone's controllers are going to be different. You know, your controller might have a worse dead zone or a better dead zone than mine. So you can mess about with that for yourself. Controller triggers, again, max input, dead zones, all this sort of stuff. You are going to have them on 0. And for your dead zones on here, guys, you want to have them as low as you possibly can. But, of course, not to a point where your controller is going to wander off by itself. But those are the best controller settings in Battlefield 6, in my honest opinion, guys. If there's anything else you've got any questions on, whether it's to do with any other settings, anything to do in game, how to unlock things, how to go ahead and do things, whatever it might be, guys, then do let me know in the comments, guys, because I will try and make a video on those and help you guys out where I can. If you have enjoyed it, smash thumbs up. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments below. Make sure to subscribe with notifications turned on. I'll catch you on the next one in a bit. Peace.